All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. This is the October 17th meeting of the Kingston Local Development Corporation. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be with us today. We've got a couple of agenda items that we're going to go through. I know some folks have to hop off in a little bit, but we'll just reorganize the agenda just a little bit. I felt like it would be best to probably start with the 2025 budget, being that that is the most time-sensitive item that we need to kind of address. First, I want to just thank you, Mandy, for helping to prepare the budget. The budgeting process as a public authority is somewhat unique, is that you have to plot out kind of what the next 3 years is going to look like. And so that's why you'll see on the budget that Mandy sent out, and for those of us who are in person, we actually have a larger printed version that's a little bit easier to see, but you'll see that the budget goes all the way out to 2028. But what we're doing now is we're actually really, in essence, setting what we think are the best estimates for the budget for the KLDC. And then each year we obviously have the ability to amend it, to change it, and then what is then actually reported is what we actually spent in that year. And so folks can see that the current year is what we had estimated we would spend in 2024. And then you'll see next year, which is what 2025 would be as adopted. And so we could run through this to see if anyone has any specific questions, concerns. You'll see that most of the budget amounts are relatively the same as last year. There is one thing that we were able to just reduce slightly, is that we think that going forward would be the kind of the marketing expenses. You'll see that for this year it's higher. For 2025 it's proposed to be higher because we have both the marketing work that we're doing, plus we also have the auditor. And so that's why there's just that difference between what is estimated for 2025 versus 2026 in the future, because we haven't decided how much we want to spend on audit or marketing services in 2026 yet, because it's still 2 years away. So we're just going to take it 1 year at a time. And that's why you'll see the proposed budget for that includes what we think we would spend on marketing based on the proposals that we've gotten but haven't selected yet, plus the costs of having any audit or attorney fees, if that makes sense for everyone.
What's the big drop off in rental and financing income?
Where's that one?
Third one, under operating revenue.
So everything that, all the numbers that you have come, I gave you the excerpts from the audit. So when they did the independent audit, they grouped these together. I would have to dig deep to see exactly what those numbers are, but the 205 is what they had in our rental activities for last year.
Gotcha.
So the 205 is what's there, but the 120 is roughly what we get from Howmet.
Right.
So I would have to ask them exactly what all was entailed with rental activities. Actually,
What was that? That additional $85,000 moved to another line somewhere?
No. So last year they were late with their payment. So when they paid, it actually went into 2023. So like the 2022.
So the 2023 reflects in addition to the regular back payment that they were bringing up?
Yes, because so with their rental agreement.
Yep.
After, I don't know the exact number, I think it's like every 5 years, we go back in and we recalculate the CPI.
Right.
And there's always, at that point, there's always an increase. So that, I can tell you what happened. In 2022, we weren't able to figure out what the CPI was at the time. They sent their payment with the understanding that they had to make up the difference.
Got it. So the 205 was not really reality, it was a cash flow timing situation,
Yes.
where an additional payment had to be made later.
So going forward, they should be about 120, but again, when we figure out the CPI,
Got it.
we won't know until that happens, and it's usually around May.
So is that a one-time settlement or that is anticipated depending on what CPI is?
Well, we know that we're gonna get at least 120, but we have to see what the CPI is.
But
So,
is the CPI likely to boost it by 85,000 again?
no,
Okay.
All right.
it would be great if it did.
Hopefully we were out of those types of inflationary times going forward. So.
Can I ask a question that's about like just finances in general as we're kind of here? My question is, are we going to have any expenses that might come up as they pertain to all the work that we're doing with the possibility of reinventing the business park? Would any of that in the next year or 2 years, would we see any cost or any expense for that? Or is that really all going to be covered by the city or outside people?
Yeah, I mean, my sense is that it's too early for us to be able to budget any costs without, really being able to have the KLDC decide that we want to go that direction. If we decide that we want to build housing on the site, we would have to look at that more holistically, and there may be costs to our budget that, we would need to reflect in the future. But I think it's too early for us to kind of go down that road when we don't even know if the site is feasible yet. So that would be that's my thought.
One follow-up question. So if in the process of the people we just hired, is there any possibility that they could say, hey, if this is going to cost another $20,000 to complete. Yes, we can complete the scope of work that we guaranteed, but like through this process, the city and we have all discovered that maybe a little bit work needs to be done to get the final answer so that we can kind of look at it and make a decision. Is there any?
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully we will, with the work that the city has acquired, our deliverables with them are really clear. So we should be able to have a very clear answer based on the contract that we signed. So we should be good. I wouldn't expect any additional pre-planning costs. I guess that's what I would call the work that we're doing now. But going forward, there would have to be a decision made about whether we want to invest any actual planning costs into moving forward with some sort of site. And I would expect that we would not probably want to shoulder all of those costs ourselves. And we would probably, at the time that we get a report that says you can or cannot build housing, if we decide we want to move forward with housing, we would then look to find a development partner that we would want to partner with to do that work, so that then all of those costs would be on them and not on us. So there could be some legal expenses and some work that we need to kind of get that type of arrangement situated, but I get the sense that we hopefully won't have a lot of revenue or income or expense that we would have to add to our budget because of the project.
Thank you.
How going forward, I know we can amend the budget, correct? How much can we amend it before the state gets a little this is way out of sync with what you had originally sort of planned for?
Well, I mean, you don't know what the future holds. This is really just a guesstimate of what we think is gonna happen.
But if we change strategy on the business park or something with a really significant material difference in what we budgeted here, the state is typically okay with that, or is it at some point they sort of want
I
to?
would say I don't know because we haven't done that.
Right. Okay.
They're pretty good about reaching out. They see something that is glaring to them, on the budget. And then in March, I actually have to report on what happened this year. So if we submit this we have to submit this in October, but between October and March, any big changes that happened would be reported. And then I would have to explain to them why that changed. And then next year, when we go through this again, because we do this every year, it'll be what actually happened, what we think is going to happen in the year that we're in, and then we guesstimate going forward.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else have any thoughts, questions, concerns? The only thing that I'll just note that, because we really don't know what interest is going to do. I think we tried to, we have it currently 0, right? If I'm reading this correctly?
For the investment earnings?
For the investment earnings?
So those are the CDs that we have.
Yeah.
They are invested through the end of this month. The merger is gonna happen between our bank and the credit union, and as of right now, the credit union is not a place that we can have our funds. So I need to reach out to other banks to see what their interest rates are and see who's not going to charge us for having accounts there, because a lot of banks do, like TD Bank charges you, and then they'll charge you if you write so many checks, you get charged for that. So I have to make some phone calls and see, where we can get the best rate, and who's not gonna charge us to keep our money there.
Call Tom Murphy at MNT Bank, he's really good with government banking.
We pulled our money from there, but I will call them.
Oh, okay.
The same idea, it was TD Bank and M&T, and I'll talk to John, our comptroller, to see where he has some money.
So we may, I guess my point is even though the budget is currently showing 0, my thought is that we will actually see some income from interest. It may not be as high as what we've been getting the last couple of years with CDs, but we may actually have some revenue coming in.
Yeah, we can also revisit, once we move the money, we can revisit doing more CDs and, whatever institution or institutions we move to.
Yeah.
And they, so just an FYI, our CD ran out in September, and they re-upped us for 1 month at 5%.
Oh, that was nice.
So, because they wanted to re-up us for a year, and I said, we can't do that. We already know that you're gonna merge, and I can't.
Which hasn't been approved yet.
I can't get locked in. I don't know, he called me last week and said that it's happening, but, and then he's like, can you keep your money there? I said, well, I can't guarantee that our money can stay there because, you don't know that you're gonna be,
Right.
with the credit union, that you're gonna be approved to be able to hold municipal funds.
Right.
I know that TD Bank is having some issues right now, so they may be either a good partner to stay away from or somebody to make a really good deal with, because they're having to pay out a lot of fines for some unsavory business practices in the past.
Good to know.
Yeah. Good to know. So maybe. Anyone else have any questions, comments about the budget at this point? All right. So hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve the financial plan, I guess we can call it, and budget for the next couple of years.
So moved.
All right. Hayes first, and then Sal
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, well, thank you, Mandy, and thank you, Tony, and Absentia for his work on helping with this. Speaking of Tony couldn't be here today, but we send out, I believe, the budget materials for everyone. Did anyone have any questions or concerns about the monthly treasurer's report? And if not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the treasurer's report as well.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Paul. Second, Sal. All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Great. I'll also ask for a motion to approve our minutes from the last meeting of September 19th.
So moved.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
Second, Lenny, all in favor? Aye. All right, and then the last thing that we had was continuing the kind of interview process for the marketing firm that we've been looking to discuss. And so I know we got some of our questions answered, but because we're going to be talking about the specific, businesses, would we ask for a motion to enter into executive session to discuss this for a few minutes this morning? All right, thank you, Chris. All right, second, Paul, all in favor? Aye. All right. All right, can I have a motion to enter out of executive session?
So
All
moved.
right, thank you, Hayes. Second, Lenny, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. And so coming out of executive session, do we have any motions related to the hiring of a marketing firm? Anyone want to make any motions related to that?
Sure. I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from the KDD firm.
Is there a second for Sal's motion? Right, Crystal, and so, Mandy, do you want to just make a note or remind us the dollar value of that contract?
I still can't access the,
Oh.
I'm
Does
sorry.
anyone remember, was it a? Oh, yeah. Just so we should probably
Yeah, I'm
have
sorry.
that.
I'm not looking for a way out, I just, I
Yeah,
can't
we should
access.
probably have that in the minutes.
$29,250.
All right, thank you, Sal. Sal found it first.
Thank you.
All right, so there was a second, and so, all in favor of that proposal? And any opposed? All right, thank you, Paul, and, just for the record, Tony couldn't be here, but Tony was also a vote for the other firm, it's just so we have that, but, so it looks like that, vote carries, and so I do want to just thank everyone who served, on the review team, and also, both applicants for meeting with us and answering all of our many, many, many questions. I think it's good for us to be able to, do marketing. And so what I would suggest is that, if there's anyone that's interested in particular with working with Mandy, please let Mandy know. Thank you, Sal. But if there's also anyone else that wants to be kind of a part of these monthly meetings with KDD, and we would love to have as many people involved. And I'm sure that there'll be also an opportunity for like a board meeting to be able to go over some of our thoughts while we're all present. But
I would imagine the kickoff would be just so she gets an idea from
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
about what your thoughts are.
yeah, so we'll probably schedule a special just kickoff opportunity that can be open to anyone that can attend, just so that folks can weigh in. So we'll spread that around once we get started. So I think
Can I
that,
ask a question about just how we do this process? Because we are
Yeah.
currently working with the vendor we didn't choose.
Yeah.
And so I just, again, I do some of this, and so I'm interested to find out, if we can come up with a plan, or if they have a plan to, like kind of sunset some, or do they view that website as their information? So if we take information off that website and reuse it, like pictures of the drone foot, like, is that do we own the rights to that stuff? Or is that Color Pages and they were letting us use it because they were doing and these are all very interesting questions that need a technical answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, those are all good questions, Sal. And we'll have Mandy do some work on that to see what we can, get figured out. And I'm sure that it'll all work out, and I'm sure it'll all be fine. But we will try to get answers to some of those questions as we kind of do a transition, especially, for that website. And there may be pieces of it that we will want to use, like you said, but it may also, we may want to start from scratch.
Our biggest thing will be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, is to make sure that we have the domain.
Right.
Anything else, I mean.
Yeah.
Like all the information changes anyway, that's just a landing page for, excuse me, what the park looks like, what the amenities are.
Yeah, and I think they shared that the domain was ours when we talked to them the last time during the interview process. So, yeah. So we should be good, Sal, but thank you for, we'll try to get some of those questions answered. Okay, so hearing nothing else, I think that's all we have for today. And so I'll just ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Hayes. Second, Lenny, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Yep, have a great day.